Well, now, following that investigation, we can now hear for the first time from a major British telecoms firm, Vodafone. They've now decided to speak out and will be meeting the Home Secretary later this month to discuss their concerns. The company's Director of Privacy, Stephen Dedman, sat down with me earlier today and I asked him if he'd ever heard about the secret American data gathering system Dishfire before.
No, it's the first we've heard about it, and naturally we're shocked and surprised. Only yesterday we shared details of our principles around government surveillance, which set out very clearly what we will and what we won't do to ensure that governments stay within the bounds of the law and that we protect what's fundamental to our business, which is our customers' privacy.
But that, of course, in a sense, is domestic. The issue here is that another country, in this case America, has penetrated the system abroad and can access our metadata, where we are, who we're talking to and the rest of it, and feed it back through the NSA into GCHQ.
Right, so I can't comment on the details of what's happened. I mean, what you're describing sounds concerning to us because the regime that we are required to comply with is very clear, and we will only disclose information to governments when we're legally compelled to do so. We won't go beyond the law, and we'll require that they comply with due process. But what you're describing is something that sounds as if that's been circumvented.
What are you going to do about it?
We're going to be contacting the government and we're going to be challenging them on this. And from our perspective, the law is there to protect our customers, and it doesn't sound as if that's necessarily what's happening.
But with due respect, the government has very little control over what the United States wishes to do, and if in the interests of their own security they feel it necessary to run this Dishfire process and access our data, there's not much you can do about it, is there?
Well, we can ask the government to step in and take responsibility for this. We make absolutely clear that for British companies, protecting the privacy of British customers is absolutely imperative, and we expect the government to step up and take some control.
But I can hear the NSA in my ear. They would be saying, I'm sorry, but our responsibility is to our citizens and to keep them safe, and in order to do that, we must have the capacity to penetrate the information of any citizen we choose to look at.
And from our perspective, if they want to do that, they need to do that within the framework of a clear set of laws that constrains those powers and make sure they meet and respect human rights standards around the world. So from our perspective, we will only comply with a legal process and we will hold the government to that process. But if they're working around it through the sorts of things that you've been talking about, then that's a huge problem for us.
When you've spoken to government here in the United Kingdom, will customers learn what the true situation actually is?
Well, we will certainly do as much as we can to shed light on the way both the powers that governments have and the kind of data and the requests that they get in all the markets where we can.
Because at the end of the day, you are trying to sort a system domestically, but if that is being compromised by wholesale delivery of the material by another route, it clearly makes an absolute nonsense of any domestic arrangements you agree with the government.
So they're not agreed by us with government. These are the requirements that are imposed on us by law, but you're right to say that those legal frameworks, which are designed to protect a particular type of relationship and how law enforcement agencies come into possession of this information, you're right to question the effectiveness of that regime in protecting British citizens.